Hola amigos, ¿qué tal? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with an update on the current situation here in Spain, day 365 of the current situation, and the 14th of March 2020 was when everything here in Spain changed for the worse. But more about that in just a moment. Firstly, a big thanks to all of the people that left comments on the last video. Lots of comments, lots of debate happening there as usual. Thanks to people that supported the channel by buying merchandise, and a big thanks to my patrons on Patreon for your support. Now, let's get into the news. The 14th of March 2021, a milestone. As I said before, it was the 14th of March 2020 when that state of alarm in Spain kicked in and our lives changed. As we can see here, Spain on the 14th of March 2020, a new state of alarm against COVID and a new way of living. This Sunday marks 1 year since the president of the government, Pedro Sánchez, appeared late in the afternoon of the 14th of March 2020 to confirm that the Council of Ministers, after a meeting lasting more than 7 hours, had approved the royal decree declaring a state of alarm throughout Spain to contain the coronavirus pandemic. 18 million citizens were glued to their TV sets as they followed the announcement of the severe measures restricting people's mobility and economic activity, except in cases of force majeure and essential services, which would be applied from the following Monday, the 16th of March 2020, and for the next 15 days. With the mistaken idea that it was something temporary, that day we inaugurated a new way of living imposed by the virus. And another headline from a different newspaper: 1 year on, nothing will ever be the same again. The health crisis that was the last 15 days has led to 100,000 deaths in Spain and an immeasurable hole in vital moments. The pandemic changed a way of life. No hugs, no gatherings, no travel. 12 months after the first lockdown, the debate is not whether we are better off, but how different we are from the rest of the world. So 1 year on, and according to one of those headlines, nothing will ever be the same again. Close to 100,000 people have unfortunately lost their lives due to the pandemic, and we're slowly adapting to a new way of living. As we saw, the first state of alarm was only for 15 days. The government was optimistic that they could get the health situation under control, and here we are 365 days later, still in a state of alarm. And the question now turns to, is the situation going to improve in 2021? The Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez seems optimistic, and today he put out a tweet saying that thanks to science, we now have certainty about the virus and a clear horizon for the country. 2021 will be the year of vaccination and recovery, the year of great confidence and great hope in Spain. So some uplifting words there from the Prime Minister, Mr. Sánchez. 2021, a year of great hope for Spain. What do you think? Has he hit the nail on the head with those words, or is he being too optimistic? Let us know in the comment section. Now, as we know, last week was a fairly turbulent week for politics here in Spain. A vote of no confidence against the government in the small region of Murcia sent shockwaves around the country, leading to the dissolution of the government in the Madrid community. However, what happened in Murcia turned out to be a storm in a teacup, as 3 of the members of the Citizens Party who filed the vote of no confidence decided to change allegiance and support the PP. And that has now led to the Citizens Party accusing the PP of corruption for buying its MPs in Murcia. The state of shock changes sides. If just a few days it was the PP that was in this state after the Citizens Party agreement with the PSOE to push through a motion of no confidence and snatch the government of Murcia, now it is Inés Arrimada's party that is in shock. The decision by 3 CIS MPs not to support the motion and to reach a pact with the PP to stop it has been a painful experience. They accuse the PP of corruption and an attempt to buy their party members. And basically, I think that is exactly what happened. The PP bought those members of the Citizens Party. Is it corruption or all part of the dirty game that is politics here in Spain? Now, with all of these political problems affecting Spain at a regional level, one newspaper has said that Spain is condemned to chronic political instability. The frustrated motion of no confidence in Murcia, which prompted an early election in Madrid, proves that neither the pandemic nor the deep crisis has been able to curb the most basic instincts of the exercise of power. So that headline pretty much sums it up. Spain condemned to chronic political instability. But again, in this country, that's nothing new. Now, as we have seen in recent times, the controversial AstraZeneca vaccine is back in the headlines. As we can see here from this headline, 6 autonomous communities here in Spain have decided to freeze the AstraZeneca batch under study for blood clots. 6 autonomous communities, Catalonia, Andalusia, Castile and Leon, the Canary Islands, Asturias and Valencia, have decided to immobilize the ABV 5300 batch of the AstraZeneca vaccine as a precaution, while some 30 blood clots in patients who have been vaccinated with it in several European countries are being studied. In any case, vaccination continues with the pharmaceutical companies' doses, which the Spanish and European health authorities insist are safe. So health authorities here in Spain and in Europe insisting that the vaccine is safe, but 6 autonomous communities deciding that it's better not to take the risk. Now, travel around Spain for the Easter break, as we know, is off the cards, as the autonomous communities decided the other day that it was better to close borders and not let people travel. We all know that Madrid didn't really agree with that measure. They wanted to keep their borders open, and the president of the Madrid community, Isabel Díaz Ayuso, on this closure has come out and said that she urges people to visit the centre of Madrid. She confirmed this Saturday that the region will be closed for the long weekend of San Jose and Easter, but she has launched a message. I encourage people in Madrid to visit the centre of the city and to get to know the Madrid community. Who cares if we're in the middle of a pandemic here in Spain and the Madrid community has the worst health data in the whole country? Get out and enjoy the city and enjoy the community of Madrid. Now let's have a look at the health data and the vaccination campaign. We can see that 3.34% of the population have completed their vaccinations and 7.96% of the population have received at least 1 dose. Countrywide health data, and we can see the total amount of cases about to hit the 3.2 million mark. The accumulated incidence rate around the country for the last 14 days now sitting at 130. There have been 483 COVID-related deaths in the last 7 days. There are currently 8,540 people hospitalised in Spain with COVID, and there are 2,186 people still in ICUs with COVID, which is around 21.5% of all ICUs in the country. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it's 1 year since the state of alarm started here in Spain. As we know, over the last year, there's been lots of ups and downs when it comes to restrictions, businesses going broke, and other problems that people have suffered in the last 365 days. However, it's not all bad news. And as we can see here from this headline, small entrepreneurs are defying the pandemic and opening successful shops. Shops selling natural cosmetics, t-shirts, tomatoes, trainers. This is the story of the entrepreneurs who decided to swim against the tide and fulfill their dream in the midst of the coronavirus. So there we go. As we can see from this article, plenty of successful businesses have popped up in the last year or so. Plenty of unsuccessful businesses have gone under, unfortunately, but it's good to see that people are able to create businesses during these times. Now, another piece of news that caught my attention, and it's either positive or negative depending on how you look at it, and it is that divorces in Spain fell by 13% in 2020 due to the pandemic. The pandemic has put families to the test and has put a strain on many marriages. The year began with a flood of divorces, but the crisis and the halt in the courts due to the pandemic changed this trend. As a result, 2020 ended with a notable drop in applications of up to 13%. So less people filing for divorce here in Spain, but obviously one of the reasons is that people just don't have the cash to separate. Now let's have a look at some of the comments from previous videos. One here from Shoshi, methinks we're being prepared slowly for something big. I guess a trip to Spain is off the cards for yet another year and another year. We'll have to stick with travel videos. Thanks for all you do, Stu. Always informative. Yeah, Shoshi, thanks for the comment. A lot of people like you thinking that we are being prepared for something big. Not sure exactly what that big thing is, but I'm sure that people will tell us in the comment section because I'm sure people have a few theories. And a trip to Spain off the cards for 2021, I think a lot of people are like you, have decided that perhaps it's better not to travel this year. Some people we know are looking forward to a holiday here in Spain this year, thinking that the vaccination campaign is going to change all of that and the country will open for travel. I think that is the general idea that we are hearing at the moment from politicians. The travel minister, for example, the Prime Minister, is optimistic that the country will open up this year, but we don't know at the moment, and time will tell. One here from Chris: exceptionally valuable video today, Stuart. Loads of great info for me. I don't have a TV at home by choice and rely on catching the news when I'm out and about or online. So I very much appreciate your dedication and commitment. Thank you. Yeah, Chris, thanks for the comment, and good to see that you find the information valuable. That's the objective of these videos, to find information that people will find useful. And it's not always easy to find interesting information. I spend a lot of time going through the press, trying to find articles that I think will be of value for the viewers. As I said, not always easy, and I do put in a fair bit of time and have put in a fair bit of time over the last 365 days to keep people up to date with what is going on here in Spain. So glad you like the videos, as I said, and as long as people are interested, I'll keep putting them out. One here from David: instability is always a problem in Spain. However, it is fair to say Spain is not alone. Yeah, David, thanks for the comment, and you're right. Political instability is a big part of Spain and has been for many decades, if not many centuries. What's going on at the moment is nothing compared to what has happened in this country over the years. And the positive aspect of politics here in Spain nowadays is that everything happens democratically. And as you mentioned, there are a few countries around the world that are not as stable as they would like to be. I'm not going to mention any names, but you all know which countries I'm referring to. So let's hope all these countries can get their act together and put that instability behind them. One here from Chris: good blog to explain there is a Facebook pressure group, 180 Days in Spain. The group are writing to UK MPs and Spanish local government officials requesting that they support a bilateral agreement that Spain offer a reciprocal system to the UK, that UK residents can stay 180 days in 365. Yeah, Chris, thanks for the comment, and thanks for pointing that Facebook group out, 180 Days in Spain. If anybody is interested in this, they can check that page out, because I know that there are a lot of people interested in getting that law changed or getting that rule changed and allowing people to be able to stay longer here in Spain if they are residents in the UK. Because the rules changed, I think it's 90 in every 100 days. We spoke about this the other day with Johnny, and it is quite controversial. And a lot of people, unfortunately, selling their homes here in Spain because they don't want to have to put up with this rule. So check that page out and lobby for change. One here from Thomas: thanks, Stuart, for another interesting interview. I wonder how you protect your property in Portugal while you are not there. We are considering renting a flat in Spain for 6 months or 1 year and leaving it vacant for 3 months at a time, so not to run foul of the 90-180 day rule. We are estadounidenses. Bad idea? For now, we do not want to change residency. Yeah, Thomas, thanks for the comment, and to be honest, I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I'm not in your situation, so I don't really know. But what we can do is open it up to the viewers, see if there are any people in a similar situation to you that have gone through a similar experience when it comes to renting long-term here in Spain and trying to avoid those 90-180 day rules. And regarding my apartment in Portugal and what I do to keep it safe, well, the answer is that I don't do anything special. I just lock the door and make sure that all the windows are shut. It's in a block of apartments that are very residential. Everybody else living in that block are Portuguese. We are the only foreign residents. So it's not one of these apartment complexes where the majority of places are owned by foreign residents and are empty throughout the year. That's fairly common here in Spain, and it's also common in some parts of Portugal, especially the south, but where we have the apartment, that is not the case. So I think it's fairly safe. And finally, one here from Ray: it's quite incredible that French tourists are still allowed into Spain, with France experiencing 30,000 plus infections on Thursday. Yeah, Ray, thanks for the comment, and you're right, it is quite incredible that people from France are coming to places like Madrid, enjoying a weekend here, getting out and about, going to bars, going to restaurants, going to nightclubs, and pretending as if the pandemic didn't exist. But as we know, the border between Spain and France is open. The border is open between various European Union countries and Spain, except for Portugal, which is still closed. So therefore, people from France can come to Spain, people from Germany can come to Spain, and with very high infection rates, as you mentioned in the comment. And it's just one of the many strange inconsistencies that we've seen over the last year or so. On that note, I'll start to wrap the video up. Questions and comments, please leave them in the section below. Debate the situation out. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, thumbs down if you didn't. I'll see you in the next one. Hasta luego.